Okay. Welcome to the Monday, August the 5th meeting of the Montpelier Design Review Committee. I will let staff and members introduce themselves.
I'm Audra Brown, staff.
Stephen Everett.
Hannah Smith.
Benjamin Cheney.
For anybody who's not been here before, we are an advisory committee to the Development Review Board. We will listen to each of the applications and move them forward. And do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, raise your hand. Agenda is approved. And unless anybody has anything else to add before we get started with the applications, we can go to the first application for 5 Cliff Street. Mary Andes, regarding your fence.
Hi.
Just grab your application. By the way, you're doing a nice job on that property.
Oh, thank you.
It's looking good.
Thanks. Okay, so this is a fence just around the parking area. So the building is enrolled in a program through the Vermont Housing Conservation Board. So one of the things we've been doing is just assessing some safety issues. So as part of the safety assessment, it was determined that it would be helpful for the safety and the insurance company to have a simple wrought iron fence on 3 sides of the parking space. There's just one parking space up there, across from Frank's place. But so the pictures kind of show the parking space with the vehicle, without a vehicle, and then one shot of the photograph shows just the house as you're walking up the cliff. That's from street level. So that view won't change. So Springfield Fence Company is getting contracted to install it. It's just a 1-day job. It's just a black wrought iron fence, 3-rail style, flush bottom, 4 feet on the there's just concrete parking curbs around the parking spot right now.
The red line is where the fence will be.
Yeah. Yeah, to prevent people from going off the cliff. Right now, any kid could walk up there and die.
Are there steps here that go down to
Yeah.
the lower level?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, that's where the ground floor apartment is. Yeah, nothing will be done to that point. There does need to be a baluster on that side, but I haven't done that yet.
How many
So
steps down is
It's
it?
like 3. It's like 2.5, 3.
3 plus the landing?
Yeah, probably.
The only reason I ask is that when the fence company comes and they do this 3-sided, there'll be a post here on the corner. And you could add a bracket down below and have them add a single rail going down.
Yeah,
Which
I
would be
know.
probably, wouldn't be that much more expense.
I know. That is a good idea. I know. I did talk to Middlebury Fence Company too, actually, and they did offer to put that in, but they just have not called back. They just haven't been able to actually handle the job, and they weren't able to provide the architectural details that you guys asked for. So Springfield was the only place that was able to
Okay,
provide the actual, where it was, I think Middlebury was just gonna give me something in stock,
yeah.
but I wanted to at least be sure what the product was gonna be. So, yeah, Springfield's gonna come up on site this week, so I can ask them about that.
Ask them, again, all it means is attaching a bracket to the top post of the of the fence they're gonna put in.
Yeah,
Attaching a bracket there and then one down below to whatever that is, concrete or wood material.
concrete,
And then they can attach a bracket down below, and then with a single rail, that's all you
that's
need.
it, I know, that is exactly all I need. Honestly, I fall down those steps, I hate it.
Well, it's especially nice in the winter to have a
It
third
is.
point of contact.
It is, it definitely is. Yeah.
Are those an option?
I mean, sure, I mean, you know,
Yeah,
that's,
sure, if you want to, if it's not too much of a big deal, or whatever.
no, that's not a big deal at all.
Rotate it. So that's about it. There's only one vehicle that is allowed to park there. There's only one tenant, so it only goes with one apartment. The other tenants aren't allowed to park up there. You can't squeeze two vehicles in there.
It looks like the retaining wall is different elevations, like around the forest side. Is there?
There's a step down on the third rail.
Yeah, so that rail turn and step down.
Yeah, a little bit on that third side. Yeah, they'll have to.
Do some.
Yeah. It may just be that that's a little shorter. It may just be that it's like a.
Yeah. It'll still be
It's still
plenty
be-
high above.
Yeah.
the stand, but
Yeah.
just
It-
definitely.
Right.
See the fronts from there,
Right.
You'll see the job.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll have to cut the trees back up there a little bit to access.
I just said a handrail could be added to the proposed fence structure and the concrete retaining wall adjacent to the steps alongside the building to provide a safer access to the steps.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
It doesn't mean you have to do it tonight.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you.
Is there any lighting in the corner there by the steps?
Not right now. There's only lighting at the very front of the front of the building has lights underneath the overhang.
Would you ever consider adding, and again, you're not required to by any, I'm just thinking while you have an application here for this area, if you wanted to add like a motion detector light if somebody's parked and they're going down the steps for any reason,
Yeah, it's a good
light would
idea.
just come on?
Yeah, sure. It's a good idea.
Just so you can
Yeah.
come back. and
Yeah,
decide
no, if you
later.
want to add that to, yeah, lighting is always helpful, for sure. Yeah, I appreciate it.
How many units is that building?
5. This one is the ground floor,
Yep.
and then there's 4, 2 on each side and facing it.
And again, it's added as an option. It just gives you 2 years
Great.
out
Yeah.
to add something if you wanted, but a motion detector light that
Yeah.
shines on the stairs, it just sort of a downlight sweeps the entry to the stairs, and the stairs
That'd be
is just
great.
really handy
Yeah,
if
it
it's
is.
dark at 3:30 in December.
Definitely, which it is. Yeah.
Any questions, comments about the fencing, railing, lighting? Okay, do you have any other questions?
No, thank
Okay,
you.
I'll read down through the criteria.
Sure.
Number 1, preservation or reconstruction of the appropriate historic style if the proposed project's in the historic district or involves an historic structure, acceptable. Harmony of exterior design with other properties in the district, acceptable. Compatibility of proposed exterior materials with other properties in the district, acceptable. Compatibility of proposed landscaping, none proposed in this application. Prevention of use of incompatible designs, buildings, color schemes, or exterior materials, acceptable. Location and appearance of all utilities, acceptable. Recognition of and respect for view quarters and significant vistas, including gateway views of the city and state house, probably not applicable at this location. All in favor of the application as proposed, raise your hand. And you can sign that above my name on the lower left there. Thank you very much and
Thank you.
good luck. That's a nice looking fence.
Oh, thanks, right, thank you.
Thank you. Next application is for 3 Pitkin Court, Blueberry Associates, Claudia Pringles. And describe your signs for us.
Well, it's just a sign for my office space. Law Office of Claudia Pringles, PLLC, Estate Planning. Green, kind of a light yellow color.
They're on two sides of the building, right?
Yeah. And the bigger one will be the same as the hair salon, Missouri. And then on the side will be equivalent to the ones that are already there as well.
Is the sign out of wood or sign foam or,
I
you know?
think it's going to be wood, but it's,
Okay.
I don't think it's raised.
If it is wood, you may think or have asked John about some kind of banding around the perimeter to protect the edges, because the
Yeah.
weather between the sun, afternoon sun and the rain and snow, if it's wood, sometimes, I mean, unless you're gonna climb up there and coat it every year, sometimes
Oh,
the
okay.
edges start to come apart.
Yeah, I know there's going to be a side to it. I'm not sure what that material
I
would be.
mean, it looks like there's something here, but it looks like if you band it with something that
Yeah.
can give it a little more water resistance, if it
Okay.
is wood, again, that doesn't change the
Instead of
lettering or
something-
design or anything, it's
Mhm.
just protection, so you don't have to keep maintaining it every
Yeah,
couple of
I'll
years.
do that.
Comments, questions about the sign?
Looks good.
Looks nice,
Okay,
thank you.
okay. That's it?
And I have to
Okay.
run through the criteria for
Okay. Alright.
design review standards for signs. Preservation or reconstruction of the appropriate historic style, acceptable. Harmony of exterior design with other properties in the district, acceptable. Compatibility of proposed exterior materials, acceptable. Wood or sign foam, which is what he usually uses, one or the other. Compatibility of proposed landscaping, none proposed in this application. Prevention of the use of incompatible designs, buildings, color schemes, or exterior materials, acceptable. Location and appearance of all utilities, no lighting for the sign.
There is a light that's already there.
It's already there,
Yeah.
so no changes in that?
No.
Okay. Recognition of and respect for view quarters and significant vistas, including gateway views of the city and state house, acceptable in this location. Conformance with cityscape placement and design recommendations, acceptable. Compatibility with subject property and adjacent properties, acceptable. Shall not obscure significant architectural details, acceptable. Consistency and uniformity of multiple signs in CB2 and OP districts, but this is not either district. Illumination, no change, not applicable here, it's not internally lit. Pennants and banners, not applicable. Individual letters affixed, painted, or engraved directly on the building or structure are encouraged. This sign is acceptable at this location with the other similar signs. All in favor of the application, raise your hand. And you can sign that one just above my name on the left side there.
Okay.
You have a pen? Okay, thanks.
As an attorney, you should read the whole thing.
I'm sorry?
I just made it to fix that one.
Oh.
So it doesn't say OP.
There you
Oh. I'm just reading it.
Yeah.
Okay,
All set?
that's it. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
The next application is for 29 College Street. Keith Shoemaker?
These are things he brought into me today.
Okay.
Sorry.
And describe your application.
Well, we're really talking about renovating the existing house. For terms of this meeting, I think what we're talking about is just one exterior door that we'd like to add.
Okay.
And it's drawn in the plan. It's on the porch. And I think there's lots of photographs of, well, there's some photographs of the existing front door that we'd like to mimic.
It's right here on the porch.
Is that the front door?
That's the existing, and yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is the porch door?
That's the storm door for the,
Oh,
the front
Open
door.
there.
Okay.
So those are the types of doors that we'd like to mimic in the new location. And the new location is described in this plan. It's off the porch here. You can-
Blue?
The blue porch. You can see it, the in-swing, yeah.
Okay, right here?
Right there, yeah.
The first
What-
part of the original application had adding a new stairway,
Mm-hmm.
but that's been taken out.
Okay. Was the stairway an exterior stairway, or
Correct.
what
It's been
for?
eliminated.
Was that for like an egress?
Correct.
Okay. And this one will this give you interior egress that you're looking for, or?
It'll give an interior egress from the first floor apartment to the porch, which it wouldn't have had in the past.
Okay.
Without it, wouldn't have had it.
Are you turning this into upstairs and downstairs apartments? Okay.
Do you want that stairs?
So the previous,
Well, the stairs would be nice to have as an option if we really needed it. If the door was a problem, we would be willing to do stairs. But the stairs were a problem because of snow removal and moving snow around the proposed driveway. The
Mhm.
stairway would be kind of out sort of in the way of where the snow might like to go.
mm-hmm,
So we thought we'd be better off with the door on the porch.
okay. So the upstairs this is ground floor egress here. The second floor has egress through these stairs, through the other door. And then there's egress for the back of the first floor here?
Yes, to the Crowley Center, yes.
And is there a second means of egress from the second floor?
Yes, it's out, it's a escape window onto the porch.
Onto the porch, okay. No, that's fine, I was just
Yeah.
curious. If you're ever thinking of doing stairs, and there's, obviously snow is an issue for stairs, but they make a metal tread.
We're
Oh.
familiar with that system.
that works, that works very well, as I'm sure the Mr. Steele here knows.
They have a very nice drawing of the staircase on this one that shows those treads.
Yes.
That's not,
Well, the problem with those treads is that since the embargo, the price of the steel is doubled.
yeah. Not so much the steel that costs money.
So
The
Steve,
fabrication and the steel.
Yeah.
the plan and the other materials that are in the packet, not what we just handed you, show that staircase. Just if you were curious, and wanted to see that.
Okay,
I would like to be able to know whether or not we would have options. If you would, I'm happy with the stairs, the exterior stairs. I think we would both, Ben and I would prefer to have the door on the porch instead of the exterior stairs.
no, that's fine.
Okay.
What's there now, just a blank section of wall?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have a photo.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, that's,
yeah. Made sense.
okay.
Made sense.
No, that's,
Yeah, there's no reason not to do that.
I think matching the other door is a nice feature.
I agree. We have some,
And actually, if you use an insulated door, either fiberglass, I'm not sure, or solid wood, or whatever you're gonna use, with a double glass and you weather strip it nicely, you won't even need a storm door on it.
yeah, we have plans that show the type of doors we'd like to,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of options for doors. Yes,
No, those are nice.
yeah.
Also adds a lot of sun to the living room to the west.
Putting in more glass there.
Yes,
Yeah.
more glazing area. I guess it's southwest.
No, that's a nice area. That gets, you get a lot of sun on that side of the building. The sun sort of sweeps around like this.
The idea is to use nice leaded glass with beveled edge, so that we
Yeah.
have a nice door that kind of mimics the existing door.
Mhm. No, that'll look really nice. It's a great building, beautiful building.
It's good, it's got good bones.
It looks like it's been really well maintained for years, as long as I can remember.
The college did a good job, I'd say.
Now, do you want to add any, is there any lighting at the other front door? Or do you want to add any lighting at that door?
Oh, that's a good point.
Well, that is a good point.
I think we would, I think we'd wanna add a sconce, maybe to the right of the door.
Okay, wall-mounted sconce?
Yeah.
Is there one at the other door?
I
At the,
believe is there a recessed
Well,
can
there's
in the ceiling?
isn't there a light, ceiling, porch
I don't
light?
know if it's actually, might be a pendant, I believe, Steve.
Do you have any photographs? Audra?
Of that one? I
No.
don't think so.
Looks like track lighting on it.
Oh, yeah.
Is it really?
You can see on the.
That's
Or
good.
maybe it's bulbs with conduit that goes between.
Oh, I think you might be right. I think, yep, I see it, Ben. It goes back, so there's
Yeah.
two. I think we'd prefer a sconce. Maybe like a bronze or a,
Ceiling, there's a ceiling mount, a wall mount. No. There we go. There it is.
oh yeah, you're right, Ben. It is a conduit.
Yeah.
Flush mount conduit?
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess I'd rather not continue that
Yeah.
motif.
Seems like not the right move.
Now that I look at it, it doesn't look very nice. I think
Well,
if we put it like a
depending-
flint block or something.
Yeah,
it's like
on
a-
the wall.
depending where you feed it, I mean, you can go in the basement and angle up and go inside the bay and
Right, good idea.
feed it, or you could do a recessed can overhead. I mean, you have a number of choices, whatever you prefer.
Okay. Good.
So yes, I think the answer is, yeah, we'd like to be able to put a light there. Yeah.
And you're happy with the light at the other door?
Well, that light,
Now that I look at it, no.
maybe we should, if we're here.
Well, as long as,
Now's the
you know,
time to say, we'd like to change it.
I mean, whatever you feel like I'd like to add into this, you know, in terms of that doorway.
What if we proposed two matching, like, bronze sconces and removed the exposed conduit and weatherproof box?
Okay.
because I think we can access from here, from this panel, possibly. And then, right, Steve was saying, go through the facility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just have to plug a couple holes here, just terminate that feed. Put that deep here. There's like a pendant on that section, I think that's what I was confusing. I think that's an existing.
Okay.
So I guess it's ceiling mount.
And with those wall-mounted doors, you can either have it on a motion detector or a timer or just a manual switch. I mean, that's your option, however you want to do that. But with a, a wall-mounted, we've got a couple of wall mounts that are on just motion detecting. So if you open the door to leave, it goes on, or if anybody approaches the front porch, it comes on to light the porch and the access to the doorway. And on this porch here, if people are using the stairs here to come up onto the porch, even if they're going around to that other doorway, with motion detector lights here and there, as soon as you come up the stairs, it'll light this section up, and then as you go around the corner, it'll light that section up to enter. Unless, any suggestions for anything other than that? And the other option, again, would be to do a ceiling fixture, but the ceiling fixture gives you a more limited spread. Or at least a recessed fixture would. But you like the side mounts? Side mounts are nice.
I guess I do. I think I prefer the side mount. What do you?
I'm really not opposed to the wall mount sconce type lighting there.
We'll just give you the option.
Yeah, would you please, because now that I look at this conduit, I wonder if it'd be easier if we just removed the conduit and then just installed like a nice surface mount. Yeah, I would appreciate that if you would give us the option.
While you're having a lighting conversation, is the other side lit?
I believe there's a ceiling, like a pendant ceiling picture. I can't remember, but I think I was confusing the two, but yes, I believe so. And we wouldn't touch that.
And you believe you can get beveled glass in this door?
That's a good point. I've seen them.
We might have to go to the Simpson catalog.
Bevel?
That's the third
Yeah.
true. We have a choice.
Bevel insulated glasses available.
Yeah.
Just get out your wallet.
I'm concerned about that. Yeah.
Well, we think even still, it's probably cheaper than the stairs, so, yeah, it's gonna replace that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was more just curiosity. It would be cool. It'd be nice to, like,
It would be cool. Maybe not recently.
maybe. That's what I thought for you to say.
Yeah,
I think
something
that's
smart.
Something smart will always happen.
So anyway, the option was two, either a bronze or black colored wall mount. Again, just giving you options. Light fixtures may be added to the side of the existing front door and the proposed additional front door. An alternative ceiling mounted fixture of same color family may be installed instead on each door.
Thank you.
Anything else we should add or throw in while we're at it?
Any
Sure,
more
we-
lighting then? Anywhere?
Yeah, we want vertical LED uplighting now. I'm gonna stop.
Okay. Is there a parking area for the building?
There are two parking areas. There's one on it, there's a College Street parking
Mhm.
area, and that's existing. And there's a Kemp Street parking area, which is proposed.
Okay. Do you propose any lighting for either of those areas, either that back corner on the Kemp Street, or is there lighting already
There's a-
on the back porch?
There's a carport parking area in the
Okay.
front. And I didn't think that we would be getting any lighting under there.
Okay.
Since it wasn't there when we got it.
Yep.
Then if you think maybe adding something in the back is worth having the head nod toward, I'm okay with that.
Off the record. Wouldn't it make sense to have a light here for the parking area?
Well, something, yeah.
I think this area is okay, but possibly something here. for the parking area. So if you look at the corner, Kemp Street, and then the green screen by the maple trees, I think we would ask that an exterior motion detector would be installed in the corner.
And
You could do a two-headed one.
Yes.
One that shines down at the corner from the parking area to
Oh, thank
this
you.
pathway.
Here we go.
And then another one that illuminates along the side to guide you towards that back corner.
I think that's a good idea.
That makes sense.
It would be basically right about here.
Okay.
and we would ask that it be directed in such a way that it's like the light doesn't escape the property
Yep.
owner, so it's not being.
I agree.
When, if you find a fixture, you just show it to us and we'll just double check that it meets the output and the downcast and whatever
Got
meets
it.
the ordinance
Yeah.
for lighting.
I mean, it makes sense to have a light.
It does make sense.
So, yes, we will do that.
Okay.
There's a light in this alcove.
Yeah, there is. There's one here and one here.
Yeah.
So we don't have to do anything else.
Oh, there is one there?
I believe that's the ceiling picture I was talking about in the wall.
Oh, I see, okay.
I don't think so. I think depending on this location, I think it would illuminate this area.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as the sun's shining.
Spot down into here.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When I park here,
What are you saying right
there's
here?
I think he's saying
there's a
up
door
up
in
here.
that hole.
Yes, Ben, if, right here. I believe there's, yep, and that's actually not really used. I think you'd use this door.
Yeah, you see,
That's
yeah.
more like a storage, maybe recycling bins or something. Yeah, I don't think it's been used for years,
Yeah.
but I believe there's a light in there.
Right, yeah, for more, I was just didn't see that door.
Oh, yep, I think this would be your,
Yeah.
the basement access, egress.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, the motion detector light fixture, again, bronze or black color, can be added to the rear corner of the house on the Kemp Street side to illuminate the parking area and the rear walkway.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
And again, with a can fixture, with a small LED flood, it'll illuminate that area just so, again, if you're coming home in the dark, you don't have to be trying to carry a flashlight with your 2 bags of groceries.
Yeah. That's smart.
Is this property line accurate?
It is, actually. We were joking, we're gonna put a little chair on the patio of the Crowley Center.
Yeah. Seems like an error somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's a little odd that the meets and bounds describes that little corner, but indeed, we own the patio, part of it, and the blueberry bushes.
Very interesting. I'm surprised that either the patio was built, obviously after the property line was established, and nobody figured that out before they built the patio.
Right.
And that's why.
So when they have an event there, do you get a portion of the royalty?
That's a very good point.
Sorry, I shouldn't bring that up.
Do you recall a garage being there at one point? Wasn't there an outbuilding?
There was a garage.
I seem to recall when I was.
Somewhere.
And there was some other outbuilding.
Yep.
And so when they subdivided, it's just, it's an odd angle. I don't know how it worked out that way, but,
I can't remember exactly where it was located.
yeah.
I think they just kind of moved the line around the carport.
Mm-hmm.
Carport
well.
kind of sticks out beside the building, and I guess that was the best plan at the time.
Well, if there's nothing else to add, I can run through the criteria basically for the door, and again, you have the options of the lighting. Preservation or reconstruction of the appropriate historic style if the proposed project's in the historic district or involves an historic structure, acceptable. Harmony of exterior design with other properties in the district, acceptable. Compatibility of proposed exterior materials, acceptable. Compatibility of proposed landscaping unproposed in this application. Prevention of the use of incompatible designs, buildings, color schemes, or exterior materials, acceptable. Location and appearance of all utilities, acceptable with the optional lighting. Recognition of and respect for view quarters and significant vistas, including gateway views of the city and state house, acceptable. All in favor of the application with the options, raise your hand. And I'll let one of you sign that one above my name in the lower left. The front, the front stairs, front and rear stairs going up, both have railings on them?
I believe they do.
Okay.
Let me see,
I don't have any pictures of the front.
See if we can find some photographs of
yeah,
that.
I'm sure the back does. I don't recall the,
Let's see what I can find here.
yeah, it looks like 42-inch standard with spindle and handrail.
Okay. On the front and the rear as well? Okay, then that's fine. I'm just trying to think of anything you're gonna, between code and insurance company, you're gonna get hit with.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be something, but rails are all to code.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
It's a great spot.
Thank you, Audrey. And Hannah?
And the next application is for 60 Main Street. 60 Main Street Associates. Applicant, Talia? Talia? And you look strangely familiar. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Jacqueline Reed from Nutty Steps.
Talia Stoneroff. I have a firm here in town, Stoneroff Workshop, architect.
I'm Bill Kaplan, in this case, 60 Main Street Associates.
Good. Congratulations on your new challenge. Okay, describe the application.
So we're here to talk about this extremely exciting new proposal to, let's see, the things that pertain to this meeting. We are doing an updated sign, which is still in design iterations, and then outdoor seating within the area allowable with the 6 feet clear for pedestrian access. Some minimal planters to just provide a little bit of separation boundary there. And then updating the brick, most of which is already painted on the front there. And we're proposing to paint that a dark, almost black color. And in the application, we show examples of many, many different currently painted buildings in downtown Montpelier, and then brick buildings only, and then also examples of black brick, which is a really historic way, I think, to treat the brick, but it also has an updated feeling to it.
Is there protective qualities for this paint?
Yeah, we're proposing to wrap that paint around the alleyway. And there are a few reasons for that. One is it does get vandalized currently, and it's difficult to clean off of a natural brick. And it's also been getting a lot of abuse from salt and some overspray, and then possibly some sandblasting that happened in terms of removal in the past. So this is a way that could protect the brick, make it easy to keep clean and fresh, just updating it, and help to restore it to have better weatherproofing qualities.
I have to admit, it's a lot easier to cover up graffiti with a can of spray paint than it is to have to go through
Right.
and try to scrub it out of porous brick.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that here also on the inside, the brick has exfoliated some because it's been sandblasted in the past. And
Mhm.
so, in addition to that, there's actually no drainage in that alleyway either, so the water just sits until the brick absorbs it. So just keeping it from that splash zone and getting it to shed a little bit more water will help.
It needs something
Yeah.
to help it be maintained.
So just I just need to say this in the sort of interest of, I'm participating in this project, but we only have 3 of us here. So as far as like, if I recuse myself or not, I don't know how we go about that.
You're participating in what? You're making the signs.
Yeah. And so, how do we want to handle that?
Well, if you recuse yourself, then we can't vote on it.
I understand.
And I don't have any objection. I mean, just looking at the sign, there doesn't seem to be a lot of,
I don't think it's a problem, but I
No.
just do want to
Be transparent.
yes.
Yeah.
publicly put that out there. If there weren't just 3 of us, I wouldn't accuse myself of being that good.
Now, is this for both signs, Rabble Rouser and Regal?
So I think they're still working on the signs, but ultimately, yes, it'll be Regal and Rabble Rouser.
And what is Regal? Flower design?
Yeah.
Flower and fruit, it's gonna be chocolates, flowers.
Okay,
So this is the,
As we get closer to the design, it looks like we're gonna actually do something unified between the 2 companies. So here's an example.
okay.
I can pass this around.
Will it all be open inside, or is it being divided?
We're trying to do one that actually spreads across the sign in a more uniform manner.
Interior,
No, interior.
it's their
It's
shared
also
spaces.
connected. It's-
It's common.
Okay, so it's open, it's not divided down the
Yeah.
middle between the two.
And it'll
Okay.
be, how they're talking about one POS, so they're,
Mhm.
to the consumer, it's gonna kind of all melt as one concept.
Okay,
Yeah.
2 separate owners of each business?
Yes.
sheets for the outdoor seating and an example of the planters.
Can you email me that sign?
Can I email you the sign? I can, yes.
Now, the sign proposed is this one here, just Regal and Rabble Rouser.
Right,
And this is,
it's just like
Yes.
a complete reconception,
oh, okay.
yeah.
This would be the new conception?
Mhm. In lieu of even having the company names, it would be those things. We thought it'd be more clear for locals and tourists alike to just, really clarify with our sign space, like what we're providing.
And this, the way that it's shown in the new concept, they look blocked out, but you'd be doing the same steel letters on wood background.
Sort of the opposite, that it would be a steel
Oh, with
piece
cut-
and then the
cut out
letters cut out.
Are these,
These are
And lit
not,
from behind.
not
We don't
quite,
have the, and I think that it's not finalized, so,
right.
you know,
It's in
that's,
rendering, which we
Yeah,
can
that's why it's
revisit
on
you
our
in 2
phone.
weeks, which would be totally fine, and/or
Yeah.
email the file. And if it's, within,
Have you thought of sticking with that and then putting this lettering inside the glass so that that's at eye level, but yet your company name's up top? That's a simple way of describing the business, and then, again, and the reason is that you can do anything you want inside the glass. You don't have to go through any permit process, so where you place it, if you want to change it, if you want to scrape one off and put something else, you can change that anytime you want inside the glass. And that can be either painted on, stickered on, or you can have a free-floating sign that you hang with hooks, anything you want to do inside. It's your option to do it, change it, whatever, and it doesn't make your sign van look too cluttered.
Right.
and the company name's not gonna change. So it's like, that one's permanent.
So it gives you more flexibility.
You know, I was saying the same thing this morning and was feeling that exactly how you're expressing. And what convinced me that this was a great way to go is that there's so many really exciting things happening in the space. And how do you just make it super clear to people walking by or tourists coming into town of what's happening in here and what can we get? And so when that was described to me, it felt very convincing and sort of important to make that really, really clear on that signboard. But I think your comments are really, make a lot of sense as well. Is it possible that, would it be possible to have it approved, understanding that the idea is that it's,
Maybe it's
made with steel and, an iteration of what you're seeing here?
I just think on an historic building that it's more compatible with everything else in town to have the name of who you are here, and then to describe what you do on the glass below. And again, you've got basically what's here, flowers and chocolate. And then on the glass, you can put either lettering describing what you're doing, or pictures of what you're doing, or, again, you can change that as you see where your business is taking.
right.
And you don't want to come back here every time you change something up top.
Right. No. Or remake the sign for that.
Or
matter.
make the sign. But like you said, rabble rouser will stay the same. What you do inside may tweak, depending on where your business takes you or where your customers encourage you to go.
Yeah.
That's good. So in this process, is it possible to get an approval to a point and then they have to come back? Because I don't think that it's, from what I'm hearing, is the sign, the lettering or the signage on the band isn't fully evolved get that band in the back, the sign backing, the natural wood backing,
The cedar shingle, maybe that.
Slide.
yeah, that's gonna be a cedar backing, and then the
Steel
window
letter.
and brick treatment, you know, can we get to that level, and then these guys can work out their sign process?
Sure, we could do that, or
Yeah.
is the size of the sign and lettering within the guidelines for the size of the building?
I would have to double check, I think it has to be in the sign ban.
Okay, yes,
I think that's the
No, in
basic
the
rules
sign
in the
ban,
sign
okay.
ban.
And that is the existing sign ban
Yeah.
size that
It's-
we're
yeah.
just updating.
and what was the size of the lettering? I didn't,
That's called out, I did a square footage analysis of the lettering itself. That should be on the permit, I don't remember the
16 square feet.
16.
Does it have dimensions on that sign?
Yeah, there are dimensions.
it just shows the height of the sign,
If you flip
the
it
wall
over,
sign.
that has the dimension of the letter.
And the sign area is below, it says 16 square feet.
Oh, okay.
But does it have the height of this?
Yes, it says 2 feet approximately. And I saw it 2 feet here, but I wasn't sure if that, it just said wall sign, 2 feet height, but I wasn't sure if that was a lettering height or more band
Oh,
height.
that was the lettering height, the
Okay.
band is, yes, much taller.
I mean, it seems to me that we probably should have a clearer cut sheet of what the signs are before we can make an approval. Just to be fair to all the other applicants that come through here with that level of information. But I do think we could move forward regarding whether, about painting the building, and it seems fairly solid that you wanna change that sign band to that horizontal cedar board.
Yes.
And that seems like something that we could decide on. Do you feel that we have the information for that?
Do they have to do another whole application to come back for the sign itself?
What I'm wondering is approving the sign as it was applied for, and then if they do decide to change to this next idea, then they come back? And then if they decide not to go with the new idea, they've got an approved sign?
Okay,
If they decide to change it, they come back? Does that seem?
And then I forgot the dates.
That was the permit.
That was
the
different.
permit fee, not as much this.
Yeah, the sign,
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
coming back,
you know, approve it as applied,
Yeah.
and then if they change it, they would come back.
we wouldn't wanna bias like against us.
the other
because this
thing
one
I
had
would
passed.
encourage you to do is
No,
take,
no, it wouldn't,
Or against the new design.
it wouldn't affect it.
I would also encourage you to take a look at rabble-rouser. When, in the past, when signs were approved with 24-inch letters, there was a lot of issue with the size of the letters and the readability. When you go from even across the street on the sidewalk, the readability of a 16-inch sign from that distance. There's a person who did a lot of sign design that I had worked with in the past myself. And I shrunk my own sign in Montpelier based on his said from distance, readability from distance. And the readability has more to do, not just with size, but with contrast. And I would encourage you to take a look at reducing that to 16 to 18 inches based on everything else up and down the street. Cool Jewels got a huge amount of flack because of the size of the letters there, and I believe those were 24-inch.
Yeah, we were just talking back there, excuse us for whispering.
No,
but-
that's okay.
but about actually printing out and putting them up in paper, you know, and
Mhm.
then they can walk around and really see what they're doing. Because I think that this hasn't evolved.
And again, if you had explored that, there's a distance, a size of lettering, contrast, and a distance that makes it readable and balanced. And and I'm not sure who you're using for the sign. who are you proposing? Oh, okay. Sorry?
Oh, no,
It's all metal?
Last I knew,
Okay.
that we were,
Right.
We're getting, yeah, we're
Beginning
getting
of
a
a-
quote on that design with that material and then we'll take it there.
it's an evolving.
Again, you want
Quickly
the
evolving.
sign to be readable, but also balanced within the band and the building.
yeah. The other thing is that only the, I guess the taller, but most of the letters are actually lowercase or
Yes.
smaller in that. But again, this is something that is, it's evolving and finding.
So what we can do is approve it as proposed, and then you have the option to make the lettering smaller, and any significant change, you know, you have to come back, but otherwise you can approve the sign band, the brick color, and then the,
That sounds great.
the-
Yeah.
that is proposed, and again, you'd have to come back if you wanted to change that.
Super fair.
Great.
Are the planters removable?
Yes, yeah, all of that exterior is removable, and I think it would be removed when the snowplow's coming.
Yeah,
They're not-
that's a Public
yeah.
Works requirement,
Yeah.
that all of that stuff, I have a response from them sitting on my desk.
Okay,
By the way, when you build those planters, if in building a planter, if you give it a little bit of an overhang above a base, you can make the base out of like a pressure-treated material, so that, you know, the water and all the stuff on the sidewalk's not gonna rot it out for you. And then raise it up and give it a little lip like a toe kick under a cabinet. And the other nice thing about that is you can come out with a block and a lever and jack it up, slide a dolly underneath, and then roll it away. It's very easy to do that. I just think about the, you know, how easy or hard it is to move stuff like that. Planters are not light.
Planners are light, it's the dirt.
Hard to have one without the dirt. Depending on the size of the root balls.
great.
Okay, so what we can do is also give you an option to make the lettering smaller than proposed
Okay.
if, in working out with your samples.
Great. So then we only come back if we change what the lettering says, but if we do the same
Or the
lettering or
method.
smaller.
Same lettering that's proposed here. And again, the other stuff you can put inside the glass, which is still readable to people walking along, or again, depending on the size of it, even 10 to 12 inches is readable from the opposite side of the street very easily.
Great,
And again, you can change that, you can move it around,
right.
it gives you more flexibility.
So, but we're ignoring 7 in this, that has a different, scheme, that we're talking about approving.
That's more to show around.
Right, this is.
Yeah, this is the, and it may be another.
Right, there may be something else coming,
Like
but
I
as far as this application, this is.
Thought about this a lot, and I fairly love, like, I'm kind of married to that, with the words, so I anticipate coming back. But I'm hearing you, and I wanna think it through more, and we wanna do some, like, things that we can look at with paper and so forth, but, just a teaser.
It's just, if you put it in the sign band and all of a sudden you realize that people aren't coming in for one of the products you're
I hear you.
advertising.
No, I know, but that's a
And
business.
now you're gonna take that down, and now your balance is thrown off.
I hear you, but that's, that's a business sort of direction that I think, if we're willing to take that on, I understand the risks of it, so.
Understand one of the criteria is compatibility with other project, other properties in the district.
Yeah, and that one.
And again, we
I
have to
think-
look at all the criteria.
Absolutely. And that's the
Now
one I
is-
think that concerns me more, is where you're saying the character of the town is such that that may not fit that.
I don't think I have a signed
Something
rec form.
Okay.
that hadn't occurred to me, that would bear further just thought for sure.
I'm gonna run down and get one.
One quick question on the side here where there's black paint, is that just a black paint line? Or is there some kind of demarc or trim board or a drip edge or something that defines that?
Going around the alley.
A printing anomaly maybe, or what, it's contemplated just to be.
Just to paint.
Just the paint?
You're saying at the,
On the,
at the
on the
top.
side, right there,
Down
on
the
the
alley.
side
Down-
there.
Yeah, no, that's just going to be.
Just a paint line?
Yeah, just a paint line, yeah.
Okay.
Like, pick
Not-
a grout line that maybe is straight,
Right.
Right.
or,
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. We'll
Or-
do a string and we'll get it, we'll figure out what's going to look the best.
it's actually interesting, because it may like cross a couple courses of bricks.
That was my only thinking, if it's a, you know, if you've got
Yeah.
brick and it's somewhat deteriorated, or you got a wavy
Settle.
grout line, you know, one thing you might wanna do would be to use an adhesive and just put a trim strip along there, you know, even a 3-4 inch trim strip along there, caulk behind it, combination of caulk adhesive, mount
Set
it,
level at the
and then,
elevation of the.
and then caulk it really well.
Give yourself a good line.
Put a little bit, instead of a flat top, put a bevel on the top so it drains off. And then you can use, there's a material, if you want to do it with wood or something similar to wood, there's a material now, they carry it at Allen Lumber, called Windsor One. Windsor One. And it's a great product, it's impregnated, it is wood, but it's impregnated, and it has a 30-year warranty on it. We used to use like either AZAC or Clear or something like that, but that stuff's hard to work with and it's a little more fragile. This is really wood, but it's impregnated,
Yeah.
so it's got a great warranty and it lasts really well.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good point.
Go check
Thank
it
you.
out. Yeah, because we do need something, and I don't think anyone's really put a string up to make sure that we can get a good straight line.
Yeah.
As contemplated.
It just looks sharper. I mean, you got, you know,
I did run along the grout line, so it could be, when I was, you know,
Yeah.
doing, it could be straight.
Yeah.
It's possible.
But the drip, getting the water off, that when talking to different people about it, that's a really
It's a good
helpful
point.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
and again, just a slight bevel.
Mhm.
5-10 degree bevel on it, so it acts like a water table, so anything comes down, it just sheds off, drains off, and dries out.
For the sign. That would be for the seating,
And some in the back ends.
and do you want to do paint and seating
Should
on
be
one or
the-
separate?
This would be for seating, paint, we can do all of that
Okay.
in
Yep.
one.
Okay.
Is any consideration given to like putting any of the signage on the alley side, just because it's so visible, like the first 6 feet back?
If that's something that would be,
Yeah, there was a little ambiguity as to whether that was road front or not. It's a public way, so it would, you know, the early iterations
I think it's
were-
I don't, that might be a Tom question. I think it's a right of way, but I don't think it's a public street.
It's a permanent easement with, I looked it up.
Okay.
It was I think it's a permanent easement with public access. Which is what,
Yeah. I don't think it matters though, you know, for signage.
so could it, if we could do that, there actually are some iterations of
yes,
it.
we,
Because it's a great idea.
we would love that, if
It
that's an
seems like a
option.
good place, just, I seems like a good place for a sign headed down the alley a little bit, so that as you're driving down Main Street towards Shaw's, there's like a fair amount of buildings there that you can see.
Mm-hmm.
You know that historically a shopkeeper certainly would have put a sign
Of
up there,
course,
you
with
know,
all their
the painting.
wares.
Like Capitol Station is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right,
Exactly.
But I
right.
thought, somehow I thought that was slightly different based on historic something.
It was already there,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that
Look
was
at
on
the
the,
rules.
that was on the side of the wall from the like 20s or something when they first opened. That was considered to be an historic. Is-
I mean, that's big, and so that's a different
Yeah,
thing.
you wouldn't have to do
Adding signage
The other thing, if
based
you're,
on
if you're,
frontage.
if you're worried about painting, you know, stuff on the side, if you're worried about graffiti, that may not be,
It would be up higher,
Yeah.
kind of more in keeping with the sign.
either that or if you put a trim board up top, you could mount something beneath that that's removable, changeable.
Right? Yeah.
Is that something that could be, you know, a repeat of the front sign, but a painted version added to the side? Is that something we could,
Let's look at the sign area in the district and some of the rules.
okay,
Because you're somewhat limited in the amount of square footage you have based on the frontage of the building. So, you know, you don't want to exceed that.
right.
And again, I mean, whether you're walking or if you're walking either on the sidewalk or on that side or the other side of the street, you're probably, I mean, that's so readable from across the street. I'm not sure what you would gain on the side of the building.
It's more about
Depends
streetscape
on-
and intrigue, you
Mhm.
know, just putting a little flavor out there.
More vibrant.
Yeah.
So
They can come back.
We'll
it
go
can-
back.
it could come back to do that if you come back with any changes to the sign we're approving tonight.
Great.
So firstly, there's two separate criteria, one for the sign and then one for everything other than the sign. So we'll start with that one. Did anybody have any other suggestions? We did say a horizontal trim board could be installed on the alley side brick wall at the top of the proposed black painted area to delineate the brick above and the painted brick area below. And again, that's just to give you a little sharper
Sure.
delineation line.
That's a great idea.
And the evaluation criteria for that part is preservation or reconstruction of the appropriate historic style if the proposed projects in the historic district involves an historic structure. Acceptable, by the way, is the black a flat black or a satin color?
It's gonna be relatively flat.
Yeah,
It'll
to
have to
match
have
the
some
brick
gloss
sort
to
of.
have durability, but,
Like a satin, somewhere, but you gloss, semi-gloss, satin, and flat.
Right,
But
Something-
flat is not very washable.
right.
right.
So a satin
Maybe
color,
satin. Is that what
Okay.
you would recommend?
I would think that would probably be the best in terms of appearance and upkeep.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I don't
sounds
think
great.
it was super shady.
That'd be a
The
different
delineation
project.
board, do you wanna say anything about it being screwed into brick versus?
Yes, when you mount the board, you can use an adhesive, but any mounting should be into the mortar joints as opposed to the brick, because you don't want to fracture the brick any worse than it may already be.
That's why you're in there. That blower had been like banging on the door.
Oh, no.
You
Oh,
ran
yeah,
out
the
front
front
for a
door.
second to give
Oh,
code of something, and then it was locked, and I've been like banging.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I let him walk around.
Yeah, the back door's left open, but not the front.
Or
It just-
anything.
Oh, the back door.
Sorry.
No, I'm sure you didn't. I was like, I should stop knocking. They really must be getting annoyed. And then I'm like,
Oh, and I put my
no,
phone
if they
on
heard me, they'd
airplane
come to
mode.
the door.
Wait, did you text me?
No, I didn't have my phone.
I
Oh,
put
yeah.
it on airplane mode, so. Oh, boy.
Sorry, excuse me for interfering.
No, that's okay.
Leave it alone.
Number 2, harmony of exterior design with other properties in the district, acceptable. 3, compatibility of proposed exterior materials with other properties in the district, acceptable. 4, compatibility of proposed landscaping, acceptable with the planters. Prevention of the use of incompatible designs, buildings, color schemes, or exterior materials, acceptable. Location and appearance of all utilities, no change in lighting or other than what's there, okay?
Well,
So,
we might backlight
The letters might be
the
lit.
metal panel, so that, well,
None of this
yes,
application.
that's right.
None.
It's
Yeah.
application. It's true.
recognition of and respect of view quarters and significant vistas, including gateway views of the city and state house, acceptable. All in favor of this application, raise your hand. And for this application, I'll have one of you sign that one in the lower left above my name.
You're the applicant, girl. Don't win.
And for the sign itself, as proposed, is everybody comfortable with the 24-inch lettering, or would you suggest reducing the size of that?
And the majority is probably around 18, 17, the lowercase, just.
Right.
Well, the
The two R's
The-
are 24-inch letters.
Well,
Right.
the 2 R's and then the legs on the B's and the L.
The legs, right?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the 24 if that's their choice and it fits within the sign band. I think that we've given,
How high is the sign band, do you know?
I think it's 38,
38?
48. I'm sorry, I don't, and the answer is I don't know.
I don't have that
It's
exact
big.
information.
I mean, it's,
And currently, the letters take up, I believe, even more space than what's there. The one more time are really, I think they really go almost to the top. and
yeah,
bottom to
they're
that.
using almost the entire sign there.
That sign had a lot of contention.
Yeah.
When it wasn't approved unanimously.
Interesting.
This will be a major improvement to us.
It'll be nice not to see a shoe up there.
That shoe.
Change is afoot.
You haven't changed, have you?
is there a question mark right now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
one more time?
I think that was installed afterwards as a.
Many years after it was closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
that-
Really?
That was a gorilla.
That was maybe even last year.
No
Oh,
kidding.
Yeah, I think
And
that-
so many people never noticed the change.
Oh, how
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was vacant 6, 7, how many
Yeah,
years?
I don't know, Penny, I don't.
It was in operation when I first moved here, which was, I think, over 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But then,
And so maybe only a year and a half ago, that question mark popped up.
Yeah.
oh, that's so funny.
Somebody thought it would be funny to screw it on
That's so funny.
Wow.
It was funny. It's funnier now that you realize it wasn't always there.
Okay.
Now I'm thinking,
Maybe that's
do
what we
I
put
know
on the
who
side of
this
the.
is?
So what we did was we just give you the option as you do your final design for this approval, that you can reduce it to whatever you want if you feel when you do a mock-up and put it up there
Yeah.
and think, wait a minute, maybe we'll get better balance and still readable from the
And we'll-
distance you're looking for.
We'll take that
So we just
seriously and do some
give that
different
as an option.
Great.
And again, the most readable signs are the ones with the most contrast. So you're getting some contrast here. Will the cedar just have a clear finish on it?
We're talking about that, but we might let it go to sort of a silver, just let it be natural. Just because keeping up that kind of finish behind this letters, it's gonna be a lot of maintenance. So the idea is that it'll be natural and very natural.
Either that, or you can take a cedar and you can, if you want it natural, the other thing you can do without doing a lot of maintenance other than just wiping it down every few years is to use a tongue oil.
Yeah.
And then nothing's gonna ever chip or peel. It's just a matter of,
Right.
getting on the ladder and wiping it down
Yeah,
with
that's a
tongue
good
oil.
idea.
Again, that's just another option. It's not
Right.
a requirement.
Great.
Other comments, questions, suggestions? Okay. The criteria for this one. 1A, preservation or reconstruction of the appropriate historic style of the proposed projects in the historic district or involves an historic structure, acceptable. Number 2, harmony or exterior design with other properties in the district. These are some of the criteria that is why I was referring to.
Yeah, I'm hearing it, I have to study these ahead of time, so it's good.
C, compatibility of proposed exterior materials with other properties in the district, acceptable as proposed. Compatibility of proposed landscaping, not for the sign, that was on the separate application, so it's not applicable with the sign. Prevention of the use of incompatible designs, buildings, color schemes, or exterior materials, the sign is acceptable. Location and appearance of all utilities, again, there's no change in the lighting that's there, so no change, so that's not applicable here. Recognition of and respect for view quarters and significant vistas, including gateway views of the city and state house, acceptable. Conformance with cityscape placement and design recommendations, acceptable. Compatibility with subject property and adjacent properties, acceptable. Shall not obscure significant architectural details, acceptable. Consistency and uniformity of multiple signs, not applicable here. Illumination internally lit, plastic signs are prohibited, not applicable here. Pennants and banners, not applicable. Individual letters affixed, painted, or engraved directly on the building or structure are encouraged, acceptable. All in favor of the application, raise your hand. And again, I'll have one of you sign this below my name, or above my name on the left-hand side there.
So that's how we keep everything in the town looking good.
Just like that.
I get it.
Well, that's just the beginning of your project, that's all. The work comes now.
Thanks a
you.
lot, you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
your time and for the work you do. This is-
Absolutely.
Thank you for tackling a good project, all of you.
Very exciting. Come in for chocolate.
Yeah, do come in for chocolate.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Very much.
Nice to meet
And
you.
goodbye. And as far as the minutes go, July the 8th, we can't approve it because not enough people are here who were there.
These are DRB minutes.
And then with the other one is the DRB minutes, so we can't approve
approve
those.
those either.
We can't, sorry, we can't
No
accommodate
worries,
you
I'll stick
there.
them up back. I wonder, that's pretty weird. I'll take this one too, because we'll reuse that.
Okay,
So I'll take your, both of your sets of minutes. Awesome.
any other business? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor of adjournment, raise your hand. Meeting is adjourned.